welcome to Harvey County Digital's Election Night Reporting Special. I'm your host, Lance Gormley. Tonight, we're going to plan on watching the election results roll in, talk a little bit about what's going on here locally as far as the school bond and other things that maybe are just local issues that have to do with Harvey County. We have some pretty special guests with us. We have Mayor of Newton, Clint McBroom. Yeah, clap, clap. We have USD 373 School Board member Andy Ortiz, and applause. We also have Newton City Commissioner Rod Cry with us this evening. Thank you all for coming and for this special event. We hope to do it next year as well. So just before we get started, we want to throw out a shout out to some of our sponsors. We have MTO Cleaning Service, MTO Commercial and Residential Cleaning Service. Paula started MTO in '94 and has been serving Harvey County residents ever since. If you're looking for a one-time clean or a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly spruce-up, no need to worry. MTO gives free estimates. Give her a call at 316-288-9141. We have another sponsor, which is The Hanging Leaf. The Hanging Leaf is a locally owned and operated family business serving the needs of Newtonians in all of Harvey County with a smile since day one. Go see Mike, Missy, and family at 1722 North Main in Newton, Monday through Friday, 11 to 7, and Saturdays, 11 to 6. They are closed on Sundays. We have another sponsor, Genova's. Genova Italian Restaurant is located in 1021 Washington Road in Newton and is open Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 8, Sundays, 11 to 2, and closed on Mondays. Go see Rosie and the crew at Genova's, 1021 Washington Road, Newton in Cedar Village.
Hey, Rosie.
Yeah, we all love Genova's, don't we?
Man.
Right?
So we're giving a giveaway, $25 gift card giveaway. We'll announce that Friday for Genova's. So guys, if you go and like our YouTube channel and you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our Spotify or Anchor account, you'll be entered to win that $25.
Am I ineligible because I'm on the show tonight?
You are eligible, brother, as long as your name's on there.
I bet you can eat $25 worth of bread.
Becca, Dana, you're eligible.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No doubt.
Definitely.
Chicken Alfredo is my favorite, though.
Chicken Alfredo.
The Rosie Special
It's Rosie Special.
with jalapeno sauce.
Chef's
I don't
favorite.
do the olive oil though with the bread.
Why?
I want just the fettuccine. I want the fettuccine sauce with my bread.
Oh,
You soak it in there and just...
Soak it, man.
Yeah.
So good.
I think I like that whatever the concoction they make with oil and balsamic vinaigrette or whatever. All that
Not to take away from Rosie, but did you see that little mark that just came in on Derek?
For Harvey County.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yes, very good.
And I have a personal connection to those plates that they put that oil on.
Do you?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Oh, my mother, she collected things, and when she was moving from one facility to another, she had a whole bunch of those plates, and we didn't know what to do with them. So she says, take them down to Genova's. So
Those
How
plates
cool
came
is
from
that?
Your mother?
not all of them. She already had some plates, but I probably took a couple hundred of them down there.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Things you don't know about our local businesses.
Yeah. So next time you're in there dipping your bread in there, then you thank my mom.
I will use the oil from now on.
Yeah.
I'll ask for my fettuccine on one of the plates.
There you go. There you go. Just the little ones. But
Lance, I love your cup.
Thug life. I can't help it. It is what it is. Appreciate that though. So main thing, election night reporting. We've just saw recently here Harvey County updated again, and it looks like
100%.
100% is reporting. So it looks like as of right now, Derek Schmidt and Katie Sawyer took Harvey County by about 140 votes. And we're going to look at Chris Kobach is now in the lead over Chris Mann. Now, this is just Harvey County. Chris Kobach is at 6,844 votes. Chris Mann at 5,636 votes. And then we'll give an update on Laura Kelly and David Tolan are at 6,054 votes, and Derek Schmidt and Katie Sawyer at 6,196. So for all intents and purposes, Katie Sawyer and Derek Schmidt won Harvey County, as well as Chris Kobach. Does anybody have anything that they're seeing different than that right now?
No, I would maybe say we had two constitutional amendments on the ballot as well.
Yes.
One was for, I believe the first one, which both of them passed, so it's irrelevant to which one was which. I believe the first one, at least on my ballot, was whether or not our House and the Senate for the state can continue to have override privilege of executive decisions that are made. I believe that was right.
Regulate departments from the executive branch.
From the okay, and that was one that I was hoping would pass. One to
Yes.
keep that. We want to keep that power with
the people.
the government that's elected, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And then the second one was whether or not we wanted our sheriffs to be able to continue to be voted, which was important as well. We need to be able to vote for our sheriffs. So both those passed.
Those did. And Harvey County or statewide? Have we got state?
Oh, Harvey County.
Just Harvey County.
Yeah,
Yes,
Harvey
good.
County.
Well, I want to say that in the beginning when the percentages started to come out, I was a little bit surprised. But as we've moved forward, I'm not so surprised because a lot of things I've heard in Harvey County are that people are just not real satisfied with the rate inflation and gas prices and food prices, and of course they want a change in government to hopefully take them in a different direction. So I know economy. A lot of people had economy on their mind when they were voting, at least in Harvey County.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're getting this live, just like you are, and then intend to discuss some of that. Interestingly, I'll just be the first to say that I'm surprised somewhat because of what happened 4 years ago, where maybe there was a few different things at stake, but I'm pretty sure that Kelly did very well in Harvey County. And then it's looking like that's not the case this go around.
I wonder what
thoughts on that?
Well, I wonder what that means, like statewide, right? Because that's at the end of the day, that's what we're going to have to look at when today's over with is what happened in the state. And so I'm wondering if we're a little bit of a trend or if it's just our pocket of people here that did that.
I'll say this: Harvey County historically has been one of the few counties in Kansas that, dependent upon the way that county votes, usually determines how the state outcome is. So I know that traditionally, when it comes to the governor or a Senate race, that's pretty key.
And it looks like our bond for USD 373 passed.
And then what was
And that's just us. That we don't have to wait for the state numbers for that one.
No,
So
that's
that's
it.
good. So we're
That's a
moving
done
forward.
deal.
what's the percentages on that? He's got the numbers on that.
Man, it was a pretty big win.
Oh, it was 73%.
Okay, so
Voted in favor.
overwhelming.
So that's-
53.9% of voters.
So
voted
we
on
get to move forward fast now, and I think there's a lot of planning that needs to happen moving forward. So I'm really excited that this is done. Like tomorrow morning, I'd love to start planning process on what that next situation looks like and get stakeholders involved and start communication and really make it the community's bond, the next one. So I'm excited about the process that we're going to go through to make that happen.
Yeah.
I think I want to share about the bond. I think that was an interesting exercise for me. Initially, I was not in favor of the bond. I wasn't vocal about it, but just in my own home, as my wife and I talked about it, and I talked about it with you, and I know Lance and Rod too. I mean, we're friends outside of anything we do politically or for the community, but I was not in favor of it. But we had a joint work session with the school board, the city did, and it was very informative to me to go in here and listen and see. And I did not attend one of the sponsored by the school district meetings because I knew we were having our own with the city, so I was just going to go to that one. But my perception of the bond changed, and I wish it was $70 or $80 million bond and we were getting high school additions done and improvements. I wish we were. I mean, what I would want to see now. I'm not involved in that process either, so I don't even know if it's right. But what I see in my own kids in the school district, but how important, I guess the point of that to say is how important it is to be informed before you vote. Because if I never would have had that meeting with the city, honestly, when I stepped into the voting booth, I probably would have voted no on the bond. But that was because of my own perception of it, right? And now I
That's
know that I was
interesting.
going to have that meeting, so I didn't have to schedule anything else. But I had spoke to our school board president, Mallory, as well, Mallory Morton, and had spoke to her, and she was gracious enough to try to help me understand. And when we met together as a group, it was good. But I mean, if I wouldn't have gotten informed, my own perception was that was a terrible investment. But when I was able to listen to the facts and see things, it changed my. So it's important. Like, people don't, like, if you're not going to be informed, don't go to the polls.
And I have a question.
because he may vote wrong.
That's very true.
Yeah, in reference to that, how much of that do you feel was a carryover from the previous bond, where your skepticism? Because I confronted a ton of people, not confronted, but were confronted by, who just believed that there was a strong possibility that because of the way the last bond turned out, that somehow or another this is going to be the same thing. And I kind of developed the idea over time, is even though there are things I didn't like about it, was that, you know, those key issues that people voted against the last bond for, they're trying to address those issues in a different way. So it's like, how do you change the script on them now? That was my perception on that. But,
My own, not much, but of course we moved here in August of 2017, and that was on the issue. That was on the ballot, I think, in November. If I remember right, November of 2017, or was it 2018? 2017, I think, because I thought it was right after we moved here, but we were involved already in the community, so we were pretty aware. But for me personally, not much. I don't think my association with this had anything to do with that. So
it would have been 2019.
was it that?
Yeah, it would
recent?
have been 2019.
2019.
It wasn't long after we moved here. I remember thinking that I wasn't really informed as a citizen at the time. I had to get informed. But
You were a lot younger then.
I'm older now and I forget stuff.
Yeah.
Just get yourself a trusty
Hey, I
watch.
think we failed to mention one of our sponsors tonight is the one and only Mrs. Cry,
Yeah.
Oh man,
who baked wonderful snacks for us. I think I don't know, assembled, cooked.
the whole stuff, the whole shebang. She
They
always
deliver-
takes care of
Those
everybody.
are called no-bake cookies, I think.
These
so.
are no-bake cookies, like a peanut butter
right?
no-bake
Peanut
cookie.
butter, no bake cookie.
She's watching us tonight here. She's here with us, so
Could
we're
you
thankful
please
for that.
Part of
could
our
you please
studio
read that
audience.
And explain to us what it tastes like.
Is that good with a glass of milk? I'm about to take a few of those when I go inside.
Are you a
I'm
peanut
done.
Are you a
Put 'em in
peanut
a-
butter guy?
Put them in a
love-
bowl and put milk on top of
Man.
it.
Oh man,
Somebody posted a picture of their pancakes today from the Lions Cake Feed, and they were covered in peanut butter. Mrs. Windling, I was like, that's how you eat pancakes right there.
Speaking of those pancake feeds, you gotta definitely go to the Lions Club pancake feed, because it helps the entire community. They are able to do a lot with their mission because of that, and I don't know any other place you can go on election day.
Well,
At
we
least
can't
that's the way it
speak
was
too
today.
good of them because we're all Rotarians as well.
Four
so-
you beat me
Well,
to it.
hey,
All right, Rotarians, we don't make.
We're building
Service
bridges.
club's a service club.
You know,
I would
we're
say this. Now,
we
that's
gotta
like-
we gotta bring up our brothers and sisters. You know what I mean?
We need to encourage
help
them.
them.
We
our
gotta,
level.
yes,
Yeah,
That's
yes.
right.
yeah.
We need to encourage them to become just as good as we
That's
are.
right.
It's as good as the Rotarians.
Yeah.
prestigious.
You know, one of these days they might eradicate.
There is
You
one
know.
really good Lions Club member though,
One.
and we'll just have to have that person wonder who it
Which
is.
one is it? Yeah, we all know. We all know who that one really good one is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one.
No, the
The one.
Lions Club does lots of great stuff in our community.
They do.
I like their slogan, where there's a need, there's a lion. So,
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Well, and that just kind of comes back to what you expressed on social media today on your campaign page is, you know, how many people are involved in these organizations and for the betterment, right? Obviously, it may not be the full message, but it's I've experienced a fuller life from being in Mason and being involved in that civic organization, and then also Rotarian. So I don't think I could go to the Lions Club and join them too in Kiwanis. So you got to pick your poison.
You do.
the food is better at the Rotary Club for sure.
Yeah,
The food is
yeah.
better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I need to start. I've been missing. I got to get back on the horse. But real quick, I love that you brought up that post because that sparked something in me today, Rod. I mean, I really appreciate. Can you give us a little lowdown about that, just verbally?
Oh, actually, I wrote that 2 years ago
Really?
and was going to post it. And you get a certain age and you'll start a lot of stuff and you try to finish maybe half of it, you know. So, it's social media has just changed the world, you know, it's given a platform to people that don't feel like they have a platform. And oftentimes, I find it, one of my goals is sometime I'll kind of challenge them on it and try to finish in a way where maybe they learn something that they didn't know, before. Certainly, it's hard for me to sit back and watch people trash somebody when it's obvious they don't know, they don't even know the facts behind what they're arguing about. So my intent isn't to try to embarrass them. It's to try to get good information out there in a way that maybe they might plug in and get more involved. But the post kind of came from, something must have happened, 2 years ago. And I thought, part of my life's goal is to try to raise everybody else up, at any time that I can. And for me, service has always been just such a part of my life that I don't even think about it anymore. So, the post was an attempt to get people to think about a little bit more about, maybe rather than just complain about stuff all the time, why don't you find you somewhere where you can try to make a difference, even if it's on a small scale. Everybody has the ability to brighten somebody's day at some point in time, and why not take advantage of that? So that's kind of how I was feeling. I just happened to click on it. It was in I've got this file that's got about 700 gigabytes of things that I started that I haven't finished. And
Rod's random thoughts.
I do.
It's gonna be a book one day.
Sometimes I'll start, kind of writing something I might think about posting, and I feel better after I wrote it, and I don't actually need to jump off the cliff, But anyway, I'm still a firm believer the world's a great place, and even some of the most caustic Facebook posters, maybe there's hope, that they'll put their energy into doing something positive rather than just be a grouch all day.
When you mentioned something on there about how with the advent of technology and whatnot, people can get involved with ways to participate civically, right?
Yeah,
like let's
sure.
say we can just do a social media post that says we're going to clean up Sand Creek, right? And everybody can go in and they can clean up Sand Creek on a certain day or at a certain time.
Yeah.
But to me, and this might just be me, there's a lot more that can be benefited out of working with others to accomplish a goal.
Sure.
And even in mind's eye, you're thinking, okay, well, there's other people, phantom people really, that are participating in this. It's not any sense of a community. At least I can't attach myself to that. Maybe a newer generation who's completely technological can accomplish that, but I personally can't. I'd rather go meet 10 people down at the one side and walk down Sand Creek and pick up something, than to get on there and make some, calendar event or something like that.
Yeah, I thought
it was interesting.
it was good. I mean, it needed to be said, and I think it was tactful. It was direct. I mean, all the ways that I know you, how you communicate, and I just appreciate your style. But I think the other part of me is I hear this term, the Good Old Boys Club.
Yeah.
And Good Old Boy. And I try to look for a song to see if I could know what that really means. But I've asked several people over this last 6 or 7 months what that really means, and I'm tired of it landing in my lap, and much probably because I'm looking for the meaning. And I don't know of anybody that I've served more with in this community than the people that are sitting in this room right now. And we have friends that we've served with too outside of here, of course, but it's an everyday grind, literally. I mean, we just did some really cool things that'll change the trajectory for some of the community members that live in our community, and we're serving people that we want to serve, which are the kids, right? And we've been a part of something just this week or last week.
The week before last.
Yeah, well, and it's been several things. I mean, you've brought some people under your wing that I've asked them to call you and talk to you, and they follow through, and you've helped them with another part of the same system that we're talking about. But that stuff just doesn't magically happen. There's years of work behind that. To understand the processes and to recruit the people and to build the infrastructure and is that a good old boys club when you're doing that stuff? I don't know, but
I mean, what I was gonna ask, what do people, when they say you're part of that, what is that? What is their, why do they identify that group as the good old boy club? I mean, I just looked up Google, what is a good old boy, but I'm curious.
Well, I love that question. What is that? Because that is what I'm looking for. The people, when I hear that, the good old boy club or the good old boy, it's the people when I look up, when they're projecting that on somebody, it's people that have served, people that are involved with civic duties, people that are trying to push their community forward in a business manner, people that are available most of the time for people that need something. They're innovative. They're outside the box. They're sometimes aggressive with their voice and their how they handle things. They're not going to be pushed over. So usually people don't mess with good old boys because they're going to fight you back. Yeah. And I don't think that's anything that I want to not be.
So I was going to say, if that's the good old boy club of Newton or Harvey County or whatever, sign me up.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, I want our community to move forward, and I want to do good. And if you don't want to be on that, if you don't want to be part of that, you're getting left in the dust.
Well, sadly,
I'm out of here.
Sadly, in the days of changing terminology and definitions as we progress, it depends on what you define as a good old boy first, and then whether there's a negative or a positive connotation connected to that. Like for me, if we're sitting here talking about the good old boy, I could just put something else in there. Maybe you're part of the country club. Well, at one point in time, to be part of that, you'd have to be successful and be prosperous and have money and be part of this elite organization that only a few people can because they've worked and achieved to get to this location. Not to say that it's the same, but just to say that if there's some class that you've all of a sudden graduated into because you've done A, B, C, D, and E, if that's attractive to somebody, then hell yeah, I want to be part of it.
I mean, I know, yeah. And so I think that...
I mean, come on.
So I think that if you were to ask some people in our community, they would describe us four sitting right here as part of this club. Right? I mean, I think that's what you're saying. Like,
That's what I'm saying. I'm owning it.
I know that on Facebook comments, some people have said something about just being, it's all white people on the commission, city commission, right? We've read those comments. Those are public. It's not like those were sent to us secret or anything or private. They weren't supposed to be shared publicly. They're in Facebook, so they're public. But what I think, if I was to say who was the good old boy club in Newton, I would describe them like you said. It's the people that are wanting to move forward as a community. It's the people that are wanting to see positive change happen. And I know that because us four would probably be part of that club. And the differences in all of our backgrounds sitting right here at this table tonight is huge.
Vast.
Yeah. Huge.
Yeah.
And if someone doesn't want to take the time to understand why we're all at the table of service and goodness to our community, then, I mean, you can go
Because we want to be.
You can go start the whatever club, and you can be part of that one. I'm not joining.
Well,
You can be part of a group that tears something down or a part of a group that brings something up. I think you're into Newton. I think it's very clear that that's what we're going to constantly have to not fight, but try to build a better culture in which we have people that are wanting to build this organization.
And I think that's happening. I think people are realizing that, man, there's a good group of people that are moving this community forward. Yeah. And if I don't get on board with them, I'm going to be left in the dust, and I'm going to be looking goofy back here by myself.
Well, we want them on board with us.
Right,
you know?
we do, but we're not going to wait for them either. I mean, we're going to move. We're going to keep going.
I'd rather be defined by that description for the service that I provide than to be the one that was defining people in that manner. So,
well, and usually I see angst behind it. It's usually in a conversation where things are tough, or somebody's not getting their way, or they feel like the good old boys can help move something in a certain direction that they want done and they're not sure how to do it. I mean, I'm just saying that's my perspective that I see. And one of the people that I had this talk with, and Rod, I called you as soon as we were done with this conversation and had a little conversation with you about it, because I'm struggling with wrestling this down and how to commit. So I'm glad we're getting this opportunity. But one of the things that struck me as we were talking to this other leader in our community that was saying those words to me, that I see them as being part of our push to make this community better, is its intentionality. I said, did you reach out to so-and-so and so-and-so? Have you gone to make time for them? Or are you sitting here on the sideline throwing things and expecting them to know what you're thinking without communicating? Right? And part of the Good Old Boys Club is you have to be intentional about building relationships with the people that are moving and shaking and putting themselves out in the front. And if you don't want that position, that's fine. But a lot of us that are part of the Good Old Boys Club, if that's what you wear, I'm going to make shirts and own it, right? So if you guys, we'll have some swag on our website, right?
Good Old Boys.
It's going to be $100 for every shirt.
Because of course we all got money.
You know what I'm saying?
You can either join us physically or buy a T-shirt.
But it comes down to service, really, and that's where I want to.
I think this has to be said, and because I know that I'm speaking for everybody around this table tonight. If you're not part of this club of movement of the community forward and service to the community, and you feel like you've got left behind, there's still room.
100%.
Right? The train's moving forward.
And I will say this:
we'll stop the train and we'll let you get on.
We'll open the door for you.
And I say this half joking, but we need to maybe find a gender neutral term for that.
I don't even know where we're at right now. I was intently like waiting for something like profound, and I'm like, did I miss
I thought
it?
we were talking about the
Did
election.
I miss that?
Back to the
You're talking
election.
about gender neutral terms.
Well, they, them.
It's political.
We're good. I'm good.
He
No,
is.
him, her. I just like to call people by their first name. That's what I told all my students when I was teaching them. I said, I will not refer to you as him, her. I'll just call you whatever you want to be called.
Yeah.
If you be called carpet, I'll call you carpet. If you want to be called chair, I'll call you a chair. It doesn't really matter what you want to be called.
Yeah.
Just, it's all
It is
it'll be
it is
fine.
hard to change what you call someone after you call them something for. And we're in a different world today.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
No offense.
I try to be respectful all
Yeah.
the time, and anymore you can show disrespect and not realize you did it until somebody points it out, especially when
On
you're my
Facebook.
age.
Okay, speaking of this good
Yeah.
old boy club, right? I know that in my own personal life, in my intimate relationships, there are people that say you spend way too much time doing this. Okay, a lot of people, they go do their 40-hour work job, whatever, they do their thing, and then that's where they leave it, except to comment something on Facebook. But I know each and every one of us. I mean, how many hours do you actually think you spend above and beyond weekly from just your day-to-day job to be able to serve or to contribute? As I'm thinking 20 myself.
I'm thinking 20 plus. Everything outside of my 40 to 45 hour work week, which my paid work week, man, I think largely is, with the exception if I'm sleeping or with my family, I think is something is being done for the community in some way.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, as the mayor, I'm paid. It's not much. It's $225 a month. But
Woo!
I'm paid, right?
Whoa.
So
Well, wait, what?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
that's what you need to price the shirts at. $225.
Does that cover your? Does that cover your gas money?
Only the mayor can be in that club.
It's like, I didn't know you guys were banking like that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
He's
switching
thinking about
careers.
Yeah,
quitting
you
his
said
regular job.
$2,000 a week,
About-
right?
Thinking about quitting my regular job.
I make
Becca, what do you think about
$2,000
that
a
one?
week. The mayor makes $2,000 a week. And free water.
My wife is going to quit her job. No, nobody's quitting their job off the mayor's salary in Newton, that's for sure. Yeah, that's a good point. I think a lot.
Well, in my post today, I called it political service because that's truly what we do. Yeah.
And Rod, you've been doing this a long time.
Yeah,
Like
I
this
have.
is not your first rodeo.
No,
You know,
no.
you did that in Ulysses and then here. So I almost want to ask Dana sometime. Like, you know, how do you how you guys have been married how many years, right? How
46.
and this whole time she's just supported you because she has to
She
pick up the
has.
slack, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, when you're not around, then the significant other, same thing with Rebecca. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, so
The transition to having her change the oil in the car was kind of a
the
difficult
hardest
one.
part after you got
Yeah.
over the change in the tire.
Yeah,
thing, you know.
yeah. No, she doesn't do that.
But like support you in all you do, you know. I mean, I like I said, I put strain on my loved ones because they're like, hey, you know, where's my time? It's like, oh well, this is important, and to them, they're having to sacrifice part of their life too with you and everything that you can contribute when you're not there. So equally, the partner isn't just as involved in that sacrifice, even though they get no
That's true.
notoriety
That-
for it.
that's-
100%.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a good example of that is tonight. We were, so it's election night. It's Tuesday night, November 8th. And I left Wichita to come here to Harvey County, to Newton at 3:30. I left there. Got here at 4 o'clock. I went and voted. I went home to grab my iPad, city iPad, and ran straight to City Hall. And so I have not, I saw my kids for probably 5. No, that's not normal, right? But that's, other sacrifices that are made by the family as well. So, can I point out an election thing real quick?
Have at it. Anything election?
Man, I don't know.
results?
It's no mystery. I want Derek Schmidt to win. He's only 42,000 votes behind now, and there's still 18% that hasn't reported yet in the state. So, I don't know if it's enough, but man, I'm hopeful.
Yeah. No,
That
let's
gap is
let's
getting
hold on to
smaller.
that. Yeah, that's a kind of a big jump,
Yeah,
actually.
Laura County
Yeah,
has
that is a big
50.9%. He has 46, so they're pretty close.
That's a big
The
jump.
AP, the Associated Press, is not calling it.
What
Has-
is the
2, 3, 4,
libertarian
5,
and the
6.
independent candidate?
1.9 and 1.1%.
What's the total vote?
3%
Is our
of the vote goes to them.
is our
Is that still?
The AP is not calling the race yet. They're saying that the Associated Press has not called this race.
hey, is our 72nd and 74th in?
Yes.
I know we know, but
I don't
is it
see,
100% final?
100% has reported, yeah.
Congratulations to Avery Anderson
Anderson.
and Steve Owens.
Steve Owens.
All right.
Tinder.
It's awesome.
Tinder, and then also
Avery beat that
Avery.
write-in guy.
Yeah, he smashed the.
Do you
Way to go, Avery.
Congratulations.
those front end votes, the write-ins, and those were higher than I expected. They
There was
really
a lot of write-in
they really
votes.
went to
Yeah.
work
Well,
against
you know,
Avery, boy.
It's interesting when you think about it, right? And you see the difference where that initial reporting was. It was very, very slighted to Democrats. So if you're looking at how to view voting trends, then a good way to look to see there are a lot of early voters and a lot of mail-in voters that are Democrats in our community. Probably,
700.
quite a few.
I think we were all at, so this is Avery's second term. I think all of us were at Avery's watch party the night that he got elected. That was at Gertie's. You guys remember that?
I remember.
We rode in your car over there.
Yeah.
Good evening. I enjoyed that. A picture popped up on my Facebook time hop the other night.
And, you know, congratulations to Avery, because we're talking about service and stuff. I mean, being a 24-year-old young man and then having to take on that responsibility, I'm sure there's some life adjustment, because that's not what I was thinking about when I was 25.
Oh man.
No, Avery's a good guy.
Oh, yeah. Does a good job. Yep. And then, did I say we congratulated Becky Reimer on her win? Right?
Not yet. I don't know if I heard that, but
Okay.
that's cool. Yeah, she
Congratulations,
killed it in the
Becky Reimer.
primary.
Yeah, she
Jeez.
did.
She did.
She smashed it.
And then, of course, obviously, we're going to congratulate Treasurer Becky Fields
Yep.
for Oplin.
Yep.
And then, who else do we got on tap for that?
I want to say maybe real quick about Becky Reimer. This is her first elected office. So her first time being elected to an office. And I mean, I'm on my third year of my first term being elected. And man, what a difference a couple years makes serving there and understanding
Yeah.
the processes. And I know when I ran, my perception of how things are done and how we do business in the city, being that we levy taxes, is totally different. Or, I mean, we force people into paying or doing. Sorry, I ate that peanut butter thing, and I'm like just
dozing off back there.
yeah. But I mean, what we do is people don't have an option in a sense. I mean, they live here, and so they don't have an option. So we levy those, we assess those, we collect those through utility payments, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good. Give Becky a pat on the back when she needs it, and a strong rebuke when she needs that as well. So, and help understand. People did that to me, and I appreciated all of it along the path.
Well, there's a lot to learn when you first get started in that. I know this. I know that over the course of the last 4 to 6 years, I've been learning quite a bit as just biting off chunks. It feels like, but that first initial, was it that way for you? Rod, in the beginning, did you feel similar, not to say it was like your rookie year, but that there was a transition that took place from you being a citizen, thinking that things operated this way, than to them being a council member?
Well, I was a council member in Ulysses, and I'd have to say, you know, because of my background and my understanding of how cities operate and city budgets and city finance, I pretty well got to hit the ground running. If I had a weakness, it was probably understanding the internal working and the getting along with you know, like relationships and things like that. That, you know, which ones were sacred and you know, that it takes a little while for you to get that feel, but I was blessed in the fact that it was really kind of right up my alley. So
Yeah, because a lot of city and county budgets have to do with, well, a lot of city and county duties have to do with just budgeting.
they do.
If you
They
worked
do.
in and around that.
You really understand what your function is as a councilman or a commissioner, then it makes the job easier. I think the commissioners and councilmen that get in trouble are the ones that get more involved in the day-to-day than they probably should.
Which would ultimately be a
Yeah.
manager's
Yeah,
responsibility.
but sometimes there's a reason for that. I mean, if something's happening and they hear about it enough, then you know it has to be addressed. So somewhere between addressing it the right way and because you want things to always get better. But there's people that are more tactful than others, and sometimes the hard part is like, Clint's he's younger, and I'm more apt to, like, if I have a problem I want to talk to somebody about, I just go talk to them, and sometimes that'll give me a greater understanding. But there are times I feel like I got to bring things up in a public meeting too that have to do with a commissioner's role, and not so much as on the operating side of the deal. So I'm more apt to have a private conversation if it has to do with something that surrounds their job. But if it's a commissioner duty, then I think you should bring it up in public. You should be
Transparent
about it.
And I think it's important, Rod, to note too that we have talking about those commissioners that get too involved. Sometimes maybe out of necessity, but we have great city staff.
We do.
I mean, we're responsible for our city manager and city attorney, in a sense. We meet if there's Newton residents that watch us and they don't understand this process. We have contracts with the city attorney and the city manager, but our city engineer, city finance, our city clerk, Zach, I forget his official title, city development, economic development,
Community development.
Community development, that's what it is. They work for the city manager, but we have great high-level leadership roles in our city, and we don't have to be involved in all of that because we know that they're doing it the way that we've expressed our desire for it to be done.
Yeah.
So just kudos to our city staff. We have really good ones, and Newton hasn't always been that way. We have them right now, though, and it makes, it makes it much easier and more enjoyable. So,
Well, that takes it back to the things have changed
And I
over
just
the last few years. Yeah, go ahead.
point out real quick that Derek Schmidt is now less than 38,000 votes behind Kelly. He's moving up. He was over 60 when we started this.
Now what does Sedgwick County look like?
Sedgwick County's done. It went for Kelly. It's reported. I mean, or at least the Associated Press is calling it as reported for Sedgwick County.
There's
84% is reported.
There's 7 counties that haven't reported anything, and eight counties that haven't reported anything, and maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Harvey
6.
County did go for
Harvey County did.
Okay, but Sedgwick County did not.
Did not. No.
30 counties that have partially reported. And you couldn't resist grabbing one of those no-bake cookies.
You guys care if I use this opportunity to throw in another sponsor?
No, please. Show them the love. Thank you,
Guerrilla
guys.
Marketing. Guerrilla Marketing is located at 123 West Broadway in Newton. Visit Drew and the crew at 123 West Broadway. That's 123 West Broadway for all your apparel, signs, designs, and web needs. Guerrilla Marketing. We really couldn't do this without our sponsors. So all of our sponsors, we are greatly thankful that you contribute to us being able to do this program, put this program out for people in Harvey County, and we have a lot of thankful communities at this point in time because where there was no platform, there is a platform now. So to all you Heston, Walton, surrounding areas of Newton, you're not left in the cold by any means.
Let me ask you a question. You guys have been interviewing, you and Andy have been interviewing a lot of people over the past months, but a couple of years. Who do you think who's been the most interesting?
I'd say it's a tie between two people, Rod and Clint.
Okay, which one?
No,
Which one?
No, tell me which
I'm
one.
not that good.
I mean, that was smooth.
I already took them off the list because I know them.
Yeah, outside of us two. Because we're both pretty fascinating. So you get a double. And by the way, we're expecting a check by the time we leave here.
Yeah.
Too, so.
Where's my royalties?
Outside of us two, because you guys you just interviewed a judge, right?
Yeah.
That was just posted. I got a notification on the way here that there was a new video up from Harvey County Digital on YouTube. So that's
Jason Lane,
fortunate.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who are some other? What's one of the more interesting ones? And maybe it's not so much of the content, but maybe of the occupation or something like that.
To me, I think personally, I would say most recently Jason, just because he's a judge, and to me, that's I don't see too many interviews with judges, right? So so it's like, okay, I'm getting in to be able to tap into the human side of this person as they are in their service to our community and what role they play or fill. And that was interesting just by that. But everybody's uniquely, in my opinion, different because it's always something different. It's like, let's say both of you are Newton City Commissioners. Well, you're both uniquely different people. So you have your personality and his personality and the way you guys look at things differently. And the more people that I interview, the more I realize how different everybody actually is and how I actually appreciate those uniquenesses.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Val Gleason's podcast, and she's just such a meat and potatoes person, and she had so many great lessons throughout her conversation that I got to be a part of with her about pulling the wagon, right? Yeah. Never getting on the wagon. All these little nuggets of just life lessons that she put in there as we went through that conversation. I was just blown away by her depth, the in-depth person that she is and how she sees the world and how she chooses to live her life. Kent Erb, because I like media, was also a very interesting podcast for me and one of my personal favorites that I got to do with him, just because the history in media, his background, how he grew up, his mentor, who he just loves to death, and the father figure his mentor was for him in his life, even though he did have,
You're thinking of Ken
Nepper. Sorry, Nepper.
Ken
Sorry,
Nepper,
Nepper. Yeah, Ken Nepper. Sorry,
Yeah.
Ken Nepper, and it was just a great.
Ken Erb's pretty fascinating too.
Yes,
He is.
Fellow Rotarian.
He's a Rotarian. That's why he was. I get to see his emails that come through.
Val Gleason, Rotarian, Ken Erb, Rotarian.
There's a
There's
trend
a
there.
trend here.
Now the other one that I like, that one that I really enjoyed sitting in the
Jason
background.
Lane's a Rotarian.
Is he?
Yeah,
That's
he doesn't
cool.
get to come.
That's cool. One of the ones that I really enjoyed that I saw Lance do, and I was in the background watching this thing, was Chad Fry.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He turned on a whole different,
Chad's cool.
That was
a whole different persona that I've ever seen him in. He was articulate. He had a great radio voice. He's very passionate about what he does for a living, and he unpacked that for us in a way that I was just like, he's a Newtonian. He's right here in front of us.
Yeah.
Like, we go and search out all these people that for some reason we think have better stuff than we do.
Yeah.
And what I'm finding out is we have the best of the best all around us. And so, I mean, there's so many of them. I mean, we're at 33. This is number 35 or 36 because we got a few in the hopper. And every one of them is just a unique individual. Now, you guys have taken up the space more than everybody else. I think we've had you in a couple times a piece.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's because we're always,
I think maybe I've been here 3.
yeah.
You might actually have been here more than anybody else.
Yeah, you're number 1. Now you're 4. This is 4 for
I
you.
mean, the guy's mother gave plates to Genova.
So, I mean, you know.
That's our sponsor.
But you are the mayor. So we should have you on again.
So think about this.
this is my third time tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a
First
hood
and
rat.
second.
Yeah.
I'm a guy that comes from where I come from. I'm probably the bottom 2% of San Antonio, Texas, in the neighborhood I grew up with. The high school I went to was probably 97% in the poverty.
Lower socioeconomic.
97. And I get to be here today with a great friend of mine and a mayor. Lance, the things we're visioning for this company in the next year and the stuff we're gearing up to do next year. It's not right now, but we're putting things in place for next year.
Coming.
It's going to be amazing, guys. We're going to really do some fun stuff, project our winners in a way that nobody else is doing, and just use the media to really transform our community in a positive way. And then, Rod, your business experience and everything you've done, and to have you on speed dial, it just means the world to me. And here we are today, a guy like me being able to sit with you guys is almost unbelievable to a guy like me. When I really go back to the guy I was 20 years ago, knowing that here I am today sitting with the people that I look up to, and I get to be a part of your lives and be friends with you guys and then pitch into your visions. I'm just feel blessed to be a part of that. So it's amazing.
It's part of the good old boy club.
We get to do it.
I didn't mean to take that because I was feeling what you were saying.
We're going to hurt our arms.
And I was like, oh, man, should I say it? Yeah, I should say it.
I do want to say something about Lance, though. I mean, to watch you grow. I mean, the first time we did the interview, you know, you're reading the questions and you're nervous, and your growth in doing this has been spectacular too. Our last conversation was without notes, and we just took off and went in a direction, and that's what I like is the realness of just being able to have dialogue and you know, it's pretty obvious that none of it was pre-planned, and I didn't prepare for anything. It just was off the top of my head, and the way I feel, and you know, as a community servant, you certainly shouldn't just go on into a public setting like this and just try to blow smoke. It needs to be real, and it needs to, you know.
Yeah, it won't work. I mean, there's a two-edged sword that's going on here. We want to celebrate our local elected officials, our leaders, okay, through this program, and there's not a lot of opportunity that's being presented to these people in these positions.
Yeah.
You and Clint. I mean, how often are people asking you to come and do an interview? You know,
Only
get
you
out?
guys. Yeah.
Well, and see, that's
That's
the thing
unreal.
To me, there are multiple communities around, and there's some coming out. Brody Flavin, Halstead council members getting ready to come out. I did one with Sarah Jansen. I want to build a positive public relations almost campaign for our community as a whole in Harvey County,
Sure.
and this is the way to do it. So I appreciate what you said. You know, I know that it's not, like, to me personally, this is not an easy transition. So I do appreciate what you said, and try to do better as we go.
Well, I hope more people start watching, you know, because you know, the culture has changed so much in Newton that if people would just watch these podcasts and see how easy it is to talk to us, and how open we are to questions and all of that stuff.
What are we doing?
Hold on,
Are
hold
we
on,
playing
hold on.
safe?
One, can you leave
y'all,
two?
y'all two are having
You guys,
this wonderful
it's like we're having this
conversation.
conversation, and you
You guys are having this
So-
wonderful conversations,
Yeah.
and the peanut butter no bakes are disappearing. Right now.
Yeah, we got serious.
So you're like, wait,
I was like, maybe I should save this for when I get inside.
No,
Yeah.
leave 4 behind.
I think you ought to leave this part in.
yeah, well, it will
Oh,
be.
for
I'm
sure.
sure. It will
Yeah,
be.
100%.
but
Bye,
really,
Beck, I love you.
see ya. But really, you
And by the way, I'm
know,
gonna need a ride home from someone.
yeah. Well,
We'll get you
we'll
taken care of.
take you home. Yeah. But you know, I can't really think of a single county commissioner, city commissioner, any local official that wouldn't just stop what they're doing and try to answer your question, there isn't a thing that we've done at the city that I don't have an answer for. You know, I mean, we didn't just guess. We're not using the Ouija board. You know, it's all based on you know, doing your research. I would say I got a text tonight in the middle of our meeting. I had somebody that was complaining about the utility rates, and we haven't even decided what we're doing yet. But you know, we basically at the city, I was accused of us just going along with whatever the staff wants us to do. Well, I don't think people realize how much time we spend outside of being in a meeting, making sure we totally understand what it is we're going to talk about. In public meetings, all the commissioners, we don't talk about what we vote on. We don't know how the other commissioners are going to vote, but we do have the information, so when they present it for the public's benefit, that we can decide right then whether we're going to vote for something or against something.
So,
Yeah.
can I just throw something in real
Yeah,
quick to
do.
that point, because I think that's very valid to recognize. My own experience, I sat by myself with a city engineer, city manager, and city finance director for 2.5 hours. A week and a half ago, when I've had the information since then, I was given roughly 23, 24 pages of paper, and I've took home and looked through most of them, and some of it is a little bit beyond my complete comprehension. And no discussion on the vote, but you and I have talked specifically about how these do affect the city moving forward and just some balancing of the budget. And so I would say that my initial investment before tonight, before our hour and a half work session, is probably around 6.5 to 7 hours on the utilities alone.
Yeah, yeah.
That does not include reviewing the agenda that we discussed tonight. So, I think that there's some work to do there, that's for sure. But I would say on my end, just to be fair, there's at least 6.5 hours investment already.
Yeah.
Just in one issue.
Yeah,
I had
2 hours
about
face
that
to face.
same amount. Yeah. And here's the hard thing, like with the open meeting laws, like you and I could go in there together, but 3 of us can't. So the staff oftentimes, since there's 5 commissioners, the staff oftentimes has to meet at least 3 times in order to get everybody in. I think on this issue they met 4 times.
Yeah.
And so the staff
It was
has
you, wasn't it?
probably.
Well, I was saying something about this.
They probably have 25 or
Oh,
26
or more.
hours.
I know that Sunday morning I talked
in
to Kelly
just
on the
talking
phone for
to us.
35 minutes.
Yeah.
Sunday morning.
Yeah.
I sent her an email on Saturday, and she texted me Sunday morning and said, and it was not, she did not need to call me back the weekend. I sent it on Saturday because I would forget by Monday.
Yes.
And so I sent it to her on a Saturday and even said in there too, this can wait till Monday. But she texted me Sunday morning and said, if you're free, give me a call. And so I called her and we talked for probably 35, 40 minutes on the phone on a Sunday morning
Yeah, I talked
about the meeting. And
Yeah.
But speaking of this, okay, I want to get into a pet peeve of mine, and it's very frustrating. It seems like, I watch, right? I'm there, I'm involved. I don't know everything, but I know generally 80% of what's going on, right? And can have a dialogue. We could have a conversation about the water issue and why we might be looking at, raising utility rates. Who knows what might come down the pipe. But with that, it seems like, and to me personally, a lot of this just goes over people's heads, and it's frustrating because they have done no work. They don't put in the time. They don't put in the effort. They don't even try to come to any kind of conclusion or even search out the stuff. I mean, you look at it. I go into the city commission meeting. There might be 5 people that regular there besides city staff.
Yeah.
City staff and commissioners trump the amount of populace that's in there almost any given time. On top of the fact that when I watch on Facebook, there might be a whole total of 10 people watching.
Yeah.
So we're looking at about 20 people out of a population of 20,000. Granted, not everybody is a baby that's going to be watching this. But still yet, when you're talking about the population that's involved, and then you look at the amount of comments that are made on a Facebook thread because somebody got wind of something they might not like.
Yeah.
They don't even know whether they like it or not, but whatever. I mean, we'll package it into a clickbait idea and say, here, I got one for you. Did you guys hear that the Newton City Commission is going to raise our utility rates? I just heard that's what happened last night. And before you know it, it's going to be on every social media platform, and everybody's going to believe that. It's going to take you guys 5 hours to walk back the fact that all you did was just receive information on what are the potential
More than 5 hours.
potential things. I could do it, and that's what's sad is that it's not just me. It's anybody with a phone that has a Facebook account. And people are so willing to latch on to that because they don't know. I mean, I just recently have been hearing so much stuff about election integrity. And having been in the office, interned there, and know what election laws are and how we shape up as far as Rick Pifo, Harvey County, and the state of Kansas, killing it.
Rick's all over it.
Killing it.
He's all over
and
it.
it still does not stop people
Yeah.
from creating a gossip train that then tries to annihilate this infamous they
Wow.
that's not doing anything.
well, look, if you're,
I'm just
if
going to
you-
say it is a pet peeve of
If-
mine.
if
I'm
it's-
sick
if
and
it's a
tired of
city-
false information and crap being published.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, I've had things.
They're
published
burning
about
hours of
myself.
our lives is what
It's just
happens when
wrong.
that
If
goes
if
down.
it's a city issue, and I've never seen you at a meeting or at a work session, and you want to state facts on Facebook, I'm just going to move on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm done. Like, if you've never been at a meeting and you've never called me, and I'm not the only one that can give you information, but I'm pretty sure if you've never called or emailed me, you probably haven't called or emailed the other commissioners.
Yeah.
And you've never been at a work session, you've never been to a city commission meeting, but you're getting online and saying this is what the city's doing. I'm out of here.
Both of you guys are really active on Facebook, okay? And I have to say I appreciate that you're transparent, you're out there, you're engaged.
Some days I don't want to be.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
you and I both.
I can tell.
But with it depends on whether there's an exclamation point or a dot behind it. But with that being said, okay, Rod, how much time do you think you actually spend engaging on social media, dispelling, just to try to dispel rumors, falsehoods, and lies?
Oh, no, not as much as you would think. Maybe an hour a week. It just kind of depends. If Dan is driving, we're going somewhere. And
It depends on how long the drive is, right?
I'm setting. Yeah, I'm real apt to kind of take on somebody if, But usually, yeah. What I don't like is when they vent thinking there's no repercussions. Like they'll say
whatever.
something and it's just so off the wall and so untrue. I'll challenge them sometime, and about 3/4 of the time they'll just delete the post because they realize.
Yeah.
And I had a gal say to me, "You just try to get on here and make people look stupid." And I thought, you're doing a good enough job yourself.
Walking right into the wall.
So I mean,
But it's
what can I
true.
say?
I mean, you can't say anything. You just have to let them.
And honestly, that's not my goal.
Yeah.
Is
Right.
to make people. I really want them to understand. If you post something, get your facts right, and
Yeah.
and if you got a question, ask it.
This is a public forum, and if you're going to put stuff out there that,
Yeah.
that you think is facts, it needs to be factual.
Yeah.
James Dobson said, and you guys have probably heard me say this before, James Dobson, pretty well-known church guru leader,
Yeah.
focus on the family guy. He said the problem with social media, and this was like 15 years ago, he said this. He said the problem with social media is that social media has given a voice to people that don't deserve a voice. And that sounds harsh.
but that's
the
interesting.
thing is, though, to your point about
Yeah.
facts, is if you're going to get on there and make facts, but again, you've never been to a meeting, you've never been to a work session, you've never received the packet that the city puts out, you don't have facts. You got opinions.
Well, but we
facts are
can't.
not opinions.
We can't
No.
believe those facts because those are put out by the government. And the government lies.
Well,
right?
facts are-
I mean,
yeah, I
it
mean,
depends on
depends
what
on what
level of a
level.
person you
Yeah.
are.
Facts
know,
are not.
I mean,
Facts are not. Opinions are not facts.
yeah.
And facts are not opinions. I mean, they're two different things. My opinion is, I shouldn't even give it because I'll get myself in trouble. But opinions are opinions. I mean, it's what you believe to be true or accurate or correct.
It may
Facts
be
are
what
actually
you
are.
want to be true.
Yeah.
And what
in
you
some
want to be
cases.
true. But so you asked how much time do you spend correcting that, and if we spent the amount of time correcting stuff that was posted to Facebook, Facebook's really big in this community right here. You couldn't do it. I don't think there's enough time in a day to go on there and try to combat everything and reply to stuff because that gets exhausting. And we have so many of the what's happening groups in Newton that you can't keep up with them. And you're right, it
I
takes
don't.
one person to say something crazy in one of those groups.
And it takes off. It just happened
takes
to
off.
us about 3
Yeah.
weeks ago with a certain situation, and I spent about 6 hours because I know these people in the circle of influence, and I was surprised I never got a phone call. And I get it, people get reactive and whatever else is going on, and they just see something they want to chomp at it. But it took 6 hours of my life because I care about people to try to make something right, and then to try to figure out, is there something we need to look at in our system? Is there a flaw? Things can happen. How do we fix that if it did happen? Yeah. And when you find out that it was not even a deal. Now there was one family that held their ground that what was said was said. Yeah. But the other 8 didn't say that. They had, it's just how it was said. And you get through the details and you realize, okay, well, maybe this one family, their kiddo heard something, or I'm not saying that their experience wasn't their experience, but maybe they walked away before something happened or whatever. Anyways, at the end of the day, they left and told their parents they didn't eat. But the other one said, oh no, it wasn't that. It was that they didn't get what they wanted. Yeah. And then the other one said, yeah, they did run out of food. They got pizza, but it took time for them to warm it up.
I'm
They
not
didn't like that.
and I'm not talking smack on that situation.
Right. Well,
because-
that was just one
but-
example of 6 hours of my life
Yeah.
to go deal with that when it became a nothing burger.
But some things interesting, like we talked about credibility, right? All 4 of us obviously try to maintain our credibility. I mean, you're not going to say something deliberately that would be misleading or anything that would cause you to wind up being, subjected to somebody saying, well, you were dishonest deliberately, right? That's nowhere none of us want to be. Now, there's always things for interpretation, but I get confronted, I say all the time, I mean all the time, with what I want to say are rumors. It's like people obviously think I'm some kind of fact checker, right? So then they're going to say, oh, well, Lance is in the know and he would know, so they ask me these trivia questions, and I'm like that. Half the time, and no offense to anybody that does this, because please keep doing this, but it's some really fourth, fifth, sixth hand rumor that they're coming and so then here's where I'm going with this, right? So if I tell them, hey, to tell you the truth, this is not gonna, pan out. This is not what's happening with the situation. You're mistaken. Let's say Newton Police Department didn't buy the new utility vehicle. It was the sheriff's department. Even if that's something we can go back to, right, where people are misled. Do you guys find that people will accept that? Like, if somebody messages me and says, hey, Lance, I heard that we're going to raise the water. I'm like, no, they haven't even made that decision. They're like, oh, okay. And they kind of leave it alone as though I'm telling them, instead of like trying to argue with me about it, right? Yeah. They just accept it. But in your guys' situation, do you find that? Like, or do people just take their argument to somebody else that's going to indulge in what they have to say? Can they actually accept the fact
I'm not going to argue with somebody that tells me I'm wrong on something that I know I'm not wrong on.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
But okay, here's my question. If that might be the case, you say the out is that you know that you're wrong, but in this situation, just because I think I'm right does not mean that I know I am wrong. So
that's interesting.
At what point in time do we trust? Yeah. It goes back to that trust in government. I call somebody, if I have a question about the city that I'm unclear of, I call you, I call Clint, I'll call Leroy, you guys all answer my questions, I'll ask you the question I need to, and then that to me is straight from the source. That's credible. Yeah. It's credible. So when I'm saying it, I'm credible. Therefore, I don't damage my own credibility by, regurgitating gossip. So is there that same thing for you guys? I mean, does the buck stop there? I mean, I look at you as a people of authority because of that?
I think it's how you handle things, right? It's case by case basis. But normally, I don't know if it's my personality or what, but I don't usually have those issues. And if I do, I deal with them right away in a manner that I think it just keeps people from doing that with me, at least. I don't know how everybody else sees that.
Yeah, I think that, specifically to the commission, I think that if somebody's calling me, they're probably calling me because they trust me to tell them the truth.
Yeah.
So that's probably not an issue. I don't have, if you don't,
good call.
If you're not going to believe what I say, you're probably not going to reach out to me.
Right.
I'll be honest, and if you don't like it, then that's just the way it is. But I think too, the big part of it though that we're missing in all of this is the credibility. Mm-hmm. And I think that our commission, and I think our school board as well, but our and I don't know you. I don't pay attention as much to you guys, but if I have a problem with someone on the school board, I'll call you.
Mm-hmm.
But,
for sure, real quick.
And I've done that.
And I appreciate it.
But I think our commission has built good credibility with the community, so they can call any of us and get facts more than opinions. And I think they feel safe walking away with those facts and saying, okay, this is actually what's happening.
I would agree.
We had someone come to our commission meeting tonight that did not come to the work session, and what they came to say was not factual to what the work session was. And I know this person personally, and I know that he knows several of our commissioners, and it was really easy to say, like, no, wait a minute, like, that's not what was discussed. You missed on that part. That's okay. Here, this is what we discussed. And they walked away from it. It wasn't like they didn't want to argue with us. I think they trusted what we were saying. And the people that don't trust what we're saying are probably going to go to Facebook and not to us. Yeah. Because they can find
the feedback loop that they're looking for.
Trying to find
the people there that they
for.
want. Yeah.
We're going to go through a little. There's going to be a period of time here. We just came off this 8 mil increase, which we'd promised people we weren't going to ask for any more money than was absolutely necessary. Now, the hard thing about utilities is like you got a level amount of water you sell, and it can go up and down depending on how dry it is and whether or not people want to water their yards. Well, common sense would tell you. We've gone since 6 or 7 years and not had an increase, even though a lot of people think that there's been an increase because they probably used more, but it wasn't a price per gallon increase. But with inflation, common sense would tell you that if you've got a 3% cost of living increase, then you can't just keep charging the same amount for water all the time. So, I think what you brought up tonight about cutting expenses, I know staff's going to give that a good hard look, and somewhere between tightening our belt and having to increase rates, we're gonna work real hard to try to find a happy medium, between that. So,
and I like that we'll maybe, and since there's just you and I here, we can discuss this level of business. But since I like that no matter where we end up, the commission will keep moving forward together.
Exactly.
I know that right now that there's 5 people on the commission and there's 5 different ideas on how we get to where we need to be.
Yeah.
Which we either have to decrease spending, increase revenue, or a combination of both.
Yeah.
Those are our only options. I mean, there are no
Well-
other options. We can't discontinue the service. We can't. And so we have different ideas on how to get there. I know that when we end up there, we'll support each other moving forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That correlation between, like you said, I do think the community as a whole trusts us more than they have trusted some commissioners in the past. Not that the commissioners were less trustworthy. It's just that they've, a lot of them have seen how hard that we work, but it does seem like when you have a double whammy, the increase in the mill levy, and now here we are looking at increase in water rates. I don't know if it's the trust level that goes down or it's their anxiety that goes up. So somehow or another, we're going to have to figure out a way to navigate through all that. But we do care.
Yeah.
That's the comments that we don't care. That always just really kind of
And let's not
hurts
lose
me.
focus of all the good too. Tonight, right? So we're talking about city commission tonight. We approved the sale of about 7.73, I think, acres to a developer that comes from south of us, somewhere, Wichita, Park City area, that has been buying some land here. So we're selling it to him. We sold this little over 7.5 acres for $12,000 an acre.
Nice.
So we approved that sale tonight. More development, and so that was city-owned property that was not on the tax rolls. So we were not collecting sales tax on it, and they're putting a building out there. I don't remember what the value was of the building. It was
36,000 square feet.
36,000 square foot building. So the value is pretty high. And they have other property out there that's ready to roll. They're waiting on the buildings to come in.
Yeah.
They have got workers essentially waiting in a sense to start working on those
Yeah.
buildings. So we're going to see some big buildings going up pretty quickly out in the industrial park. They're sold. Cool. There's contracts to get those buildings here. We're just waiting on them to show up. So
not only is Newton booming, but Harvey County's booming, because if you're looking at job prospects locally over the next year, we're doing very, very well for good paying jobs that are coming to Harvey County as a whole.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to push for us to as a community to start, instead of viewing maybe Newton as an individual entity, Heston as an individual entity, and North Newton, but if we look at all of us as Harvey County as a whole, I think that makes us way more attractive as a community than just singular.
Just so you know, we actually are already doing that.
Yeah. We need to.
So our Harvey County Economic Development has every community in there, plus the maybe people don't know this, but the company that's looking at coming here came on a referral from the Wichita Area Partnership. So so they become real solid partners with us too, and we're just as apt to send something there that doesn't
fit well.
really fit Harvey County's what they're looking at. So
we got to champion everything. So Starbucks it's looking like a building now in front of Walmart.
Yeah.
There's glass that's in, bricks all the way up. They're going to be doing I would assume it's probably going to be stucco above that, but they're moving forward with that quickly. They've been out there pouring concrete like crazy.
Yeah, it won't be
Looks
long.
good.
And you can drive on Kansas and Main Street until you hit the
Until you hit the
Yeah,
railroad.
until you hit the railroad.
Yeah,
Which,
we should have known there was something coming.
Okay, so that's another one of those Facebook things. Maybe that's where we should have started, right? So I'm on Facebook yesterday when it was announced that it was closing, and I had to get off because I had other stuff to do. But I didn't have time to read through all the comments, but people misunderstand how we have zero control over the railroads here in Newton.
Yeah.
It's one of the only forms of transportation that is solely controlled by the federal government. I mean, we have zero control over it here.
Sure.
And so they want to close
whatever.
down. I know, right? They want to close down the railroad tracks on Main Street to fix them. Guess what? They're closing down the road. They're not closing the street. They're closing the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
I think people, we're lucky that we get to drive over the railroad tracks every single
Well,
day.
and people were complaining about how rough they were, and here they are
now
fixing
they're
them, and
fixing-
now they're
And
complaining
it's only
about.
1 week.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
And next week
We
it's
Get
just-
them coming and you get them going.
Progress.
We just need to build a bridge over Maine.
I blame that on the fire marshal. I'm just going to put that out
Wherever
there.
the fire marshal
The
is.
safety plan was
Our
not.
entire downtown is ruined if we build it. If people say, "Why can't you build a bridge?" The entire downtown. Facts again. Your opinions don't matter. Facts is that if we put a bridge in, the entire downtown is going away.
So build a tunnel.
Yeah, why don't you go under the bridge? Why don't you go under it? But not under a
People are
bridge. Go under the
complaining about
railroad
a
tracks.
3% water rate increase. You want to know how much your taxes are going to go up? We got to put a tunnel in.
yeah.
Why not go around town? Again, we don't have control over that stuff. That's federal.
Speaking of that, I'm going to throw out another sponsor.
Uh-oh.
If you're needing to save some money, I recently had Hall's Tree Service come to my home. I had a huge oak tree that was leaning over the top of my house that was growing at a crazy angle that had needed to be cut probably for 20 years and nobody did it. And it was treacherous. I had them come out and they offered me a very reasonable price to cut down the tree and remove it. And it's amazing. I couldn't never have even tried to want to do the heights or anything, and they came out and they did it. So if you're looking for any kind of a tree job, it doesn't matter whether it's too small. What does he say? There's no tree too tall, no job too small. Call Halls at 316-772-1919.
We'll make sure we put that under and thank Halls. They're one of our biggest sponsors
Yeah.
year to date. So that's huge. Thank you guys for supporting us.
We are
All
Tree
right.
City, USA, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I don't know, Lance. Are we getting ready to wrap this up? It's getting what, 11 something?
Yeah, what's our
Are you guys?
final-
Can you guys
What's
got
our
more wind in
final
you? I don't want
election
to.
word?
I know
About 2 hours past my bed.
That's
Dan
gonna
is
say
over
the
there
good
like, are you
boys.
guys kidding me?
Yeah.
The good old boy club. Now you're an old boy. We're old boys.
I'm not old yet.
Yeah, you're not old. You're
I'm just the old- I'm the OL,
You're
good old boy.
Yeah, OL.
I'm not
And we're
old
the
yet either.
old.
I
I'm
think
old.
I'm old enough to be your dad.
How old are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
67.
Oh, you're for sure old
Yeah.
enough to be my dad.
Yeah.
67, you would have been 30.
See, and what's crazy is my dad's like 73. So
Yeah.
I was the young one on the deal, man. I was the
He's the good
rugrat.
old
Yeah.
boy club.
And he still shakes his head every time I come with something. It's like, yeah, sure, whatever you. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's good old boys are going to sign up.
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Harvey County Digital. We will look forward to doing this next year. Thank you for joining us, and appreciate you coming, Rod. Appreciate you, Clint. It's late. Us good old boys got to go to bed. But final results are Harvey County did vote for Derek Schmidt along with Chris Kobach, but we're not 100% sure whether at the state level that those results are the same.
Yeah, so the Associated Press still has not called the governor race yet in Kansas. Derek Schmidt is roughly 30,200 votes behind, so not much. But even at the federal level, we have a screen going here in the background where the Republicans are ahead in the House and the Senate right now. There's still a lot that hasn't been in yet. But
It's getting there, though.
yeah,
It's getting there. So we will have to wait until tomorrow. And I must quote Rick Pifo, our Harvey County elections clerk. These are only preliminary results. We won't actually know the official results until the canvassing has taken
it's kind of like the lottery the other night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could have swore they just tore my numbers up and gave them to somebody else on that one.
Technical error. They had to wait.
Can you imagine? $1 billion?
I'm not going to give them my $2.
Oh man.
1.9 bill?
Maybe we close with this. What would you do with $2 billion?
27 black.
Caesar's spouse would love you.
All or nothing.
Andy, what would you do with $2 billion?
$2 billion? I would set myself up with some kind of liquid bearing account so I had just enough to keep myself hungry, and then I'd go out and kill it with the rest of it unabashed to try to help build crap.
I would route the train tracks around Newton.
You'd pay for that.
I pay for it.
Just
Yeah.
because he loves
Dude,
this
that's almost
community
a
that
Brazilian.
much.
I love this community that much.
I don't know exactly what I do, but I've said oftentimes that I would probably be able to do a lot of good for a lot of people with that kind of money.
Newton, we love you.
I would
Love
tell
you,
you,
Newton.
I might buy
I would
Newton.
tell you would have a lot of friends.
A lot of friends. Yeah, amazingly.
So you tell them to read a few books before you help them start their business. Then they'll disappear
was a-
quick and then complain about how terrible you are because you didn't give them what they wanted.
There was a trucker in Ulysses that he won $150,000, and they interviewed him and said, "Well, what are you going to do with your winnings?" And he says, "Well, I'm going to keep trucking until it's all gone."
All right, signing off.